Right, so this is the Check for Track podcast. I'm Josh. That's Aaron.
You might be too far away from the microphone for the side.
Oh no, I sighed. Audible sigh.
Audible sigh. Well, this is going well.
Production values. Yeah, no, we just continued our DC crusade, and this one actually really bummed me out. I thought I was ready for this. I remembered it being a lot better. And like by that I mean I didn't remember it as being like a great film.
This was the longest movie I'd ever seen, even though it's technically not the longest movie I've ever seen.
So
What's the longest movie you've ever seen?
I don't know, probably like Lawrence of Arabia or something. It's pretty long. Or the Anne Frank movie that's like 7 hours long.
An Anne Frank movie that's 7 hours long?
Yeah, it's like loads of hours. It's like black and white. They make you watch it in school.
Make you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've told you this before.
You have told me about this film before.
They really went hard with the Holocaust guilt with us when all stages of school. Anyway, Batman vs Superman.
So I watched this in the cinema and I was really pumped. Quite liked Man of Steel, and no one had started hating on it as a medium yet.
I'm getting sad already.
Yeah, exactly. And then I watched this, and like I was just 2 hours 40 of fucking travesty,
and trailers.
And trailer. Oh god, yeah, no, it's true. It was more like 3.5 hours. Thank God I had no concept of time when I was young. Like, yeah, just complete. I was like a dog.
Oh my god, but Batman, you've been gone forever.
Oh, Batman, I missed you, Batman. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say sorry because this movie I did have the impression of basically right up until the end that it could just go on forever because nothing was happening.
Yeah, nothing happens. It's glacial. And when I said that to you earlier at the beginning, I don't think I quite realised what I meant by it. Like, I definitely remembered that it was there, but I didn't remember what it was like to live through it. I think it'd been so long. But yeah, so fool that I was, and I was actually a cosmic coincidence actually prevented this. I wanted to watch the Ultimate Edition, which famously adds 30 minutes that DC fanboys will tell you makes everything better. And we didn't watch that because the version of the Ultimate Edition I bought for £2.50 Blu-ray, £2.50 Blu-ray.
Brexit Britain.
Yeah, I love Brexit Britain. Can't buy food, but can buy
all the Blu-rays you want.
Buy all the Blu-rays that no one can afford anymore.
All the DVDs you can eat, my friend.
But yeah, so
crunchy.
Yum yum yum.
30
gigabytes of data. So yeah, the lovely woman in CEX clearly put in 2 copies of the base disc and neither copy of the Ultimate Edition, and so as such we had to watch the plebeian edition. But
I think she did it to save.
I think she knew. Yeah, personally, maybe she was the hero.
She was. That was a random act of kindness, mate.
Yeah.
It's like a company policy. Like we've got a duty of care to these nerds.
This
comes in asking for it, don't give it to them.
This one's dedicated to you, my silent saviour. Josh isn't feeling too hot today, and after this, I'm not feeling too hot today either.
It was. I mean, yeah, I know that people tend to speak in kind of tedious hyperbole about these superhero movies, but because I'm already feeling so tender, it really was starting to drain my will to live.
It was just, like you said,
I was out of breath at certain
It's just
points.
because there's no like real act structure. Like I guess what happens is that there's like an hour and a half first act until they fight, and then like 2 quick acts in succession. But yeah, because of that, then it's just like because it eschews every piece of like narrative language, it just feels there's just no. You're just lost in a void. Like I think at one point I put it on just before the halfway mark. Yeah. And we were all literally astounded that it was only not even the halfway mark.
Was that when where is the halfway mark? Is it when she blows up the bloody thing, or is it when it's the bad dream?
It's the Senate hearing, isn't it? Yeah. It's the bad dream. Yeah, that all happens around at the same time. Yeah, it's like
bad dream series.
Yeah,
really, really vivid dream.
Yeah, this film.
No one was naked.
Like it has so much continuity building for the second film in a franchise.
Yeah,
so much of that. It has so much high-handed philosophy. Philosophy's too grand a word for it. What was it? Themes. They think it's themes.
Yes, it's difficult. I mean, we can't slander it enough. So
I'm really disappointed. I thought it was going to be like Man of Steel, man. I thought it was going to be like, oh, you know what? It was not as bad as everyone said it was. No, this is fucking awful.
Yeah, no,
this is fucking awful.
I mean, because it starts and they're basically like, here's these 2 characters. They don't like each other, and you're like,
why?
But why? And Zack Snyder just like throws a wrench at you.
Sure, so they don't like each other because they wear different coloured outfits. Oh, okay.
But like you said, they also don't like each other even in civilian guys like Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne don't like each other, but don't like each other because the 2 heroes don't like their alter egos. but neither has any reason to project the alter ego onto the person.
Yeah. I love as well that they're so subtle that when they're in their secret identity mode, they will loudly profess that their superhero alter ego is misunderstood and good and better than your possible alter ego.
Because the whole idea of Bruce Wayne is, like, in the comic books, is that he's an idiot who has no concept of, like, he's like, if he knows about the Batman, it's like glancingly. He's always be like, oh, what's a Batman? I'm too rich to pay attention. I just drink and whore.
Yeah.
But this one's like, Batman's fucking great.
The best.
Also, I'm ripped and Batman's great.
I really care about people and my company. Because I guess they tried to go for a surrogate family thing.
Yeah, they tried to go for
a family Bruce.
They tried to go for like a tribe thing, didn't they? Yeah. That's the thing. It was his tribe, which had been threatened.
Surely he just like get like lots of dogs.
Yeah,
or like form like a little alpaca farm or a donkey sanctuary.
Well, that'd be adorable.
Rather than some sort of multinational, globe-spanning capitalist entity.
Well, that's the thing, because the idea is that like Bruce Wayne's not supposed to care about the company. He's just supposed, well, in most editions at least, he doesn't. It's like a character arc for the Bruce Wayne character that he gets involved in the company. He normally just leaves it to people. No, in this one he's like dedicated to like even his low-level employees. Like,
pays and pay a living wage though.
Probably.
Yeah, of course he fucking doesn't. But he will hug your, like, your grieving daughter as some ground zero situations.
Holly Hunter plays a senator of Elastigirl and Fargo fame. A character that I'd pretty much forgotten was in the film, actually, except for the granny's piss.
That was so weird. Yeah, like when they said that line of dialogue, I was just turning to you like, okay, well, I hope that doesn't come back. And
I don't know if it's even an actual phrase. Maybe.
No, it's not. Yeah, of course. And you know what? Even if it
might be a thing in like South Carolina.
Well, it's just, but which screenwriter was like, that weird phrase that basically no one uses? Well, not only are we going to use it in the movie, but we're actually going to have a jar of piss labelled as grandmother's iced tea on a desk in front of, like, a senator.
Who will have placed it there? Oh, Lex Luthor will. Lex Luthor personally? No, it's presumed that some goon put it there. The goon was just fine with putting...
explosion.
How did no one notice the peach tea? You can't just put stuff on senators' desks.
It's a bit of a hat on a hat, isn't it? Because obviously in The Dark Knight, he realises that the scotch has been poisoned just because he sees like some smoke coming off it or something, but it's just like
it's bubbling and it's got skull and crossbones on the bottle. It's like a world's greatest detective.
It looks like something from like a Disney villain. Yeah, fucking pantry
boiling.
But you kind of you see them do the mental arithmetic, and that's fine, and like that's how the visual language of film works. But in this, it's almost distracting that she realises that something terrible's about to happen because there's a jar of piss on her desk.
Well, as well as that, the way she deals with it's really strange. Like she just keeps trying to speak. For like a 30-second period, she's trying to stammer out what she was saying, while everyone in the room looks a bit like awkward, including Superman, who looks like really awkward at the fact that she's like stammering out this thing while looking at a jar of piss.
Whoever's piss that was, they're very dehydrated.
It's a lot of piss, yeah, exactly.
It was very dark.
Yeah, no, it was. It was basically cloudy.
Also, if you can't take a liquids under 100 millilitres onto a plane, you definitely can't take an open mason jar of piss.
And march it up to a senator's desk in the middle of a committee hearing.
You definitely can't. You'd definitely be stopped from doing that.
I know Lex Luthor's got some sway, but like, how the fuck did he pull up? Who do you talk to get that piss there?
I'm imagining the conversation now. It's just because obviously you walk up to the guard.
Is he talking to that guy who like signed off Zod's body instantaneously? Oh, hi Lex. How are you doing today, buddy?
What's going on? You need any more ridiculous favours?
Actually, I want to put a jar of piss on the senator's table. He's like, well, Lex, that's an awfully strange request you've got there.
So the goon tries to cross the divide from the audience to like the bench. Obviously,
immediately tackled.
Well, the security will go, stop, and they'll say, no, you don't understand. It's a jar of iced tea, and they'll say, it doesn't matter. Get away from
And they'll be like, well, she's from the south where they like iced tea, so I guess it's fine.
Smoke, just let me taste that first.
Tastes like iced tea.
The goon might have been security. He might have bribed a security guard to...
Yeah, I guess.
Is it his piss?
But if a random
piss
it's definitely his piss.
What if it's the senator's
no.
If it's the senator's piss, that's like the old...
He's collected the senator's piss.
He's tapped the sewage system outside her house.
Batman's piss.
Alfred, someone's been stealing my piss.
Of course, Master Wayne.
In the half hour.
Master Bruce, I've determined it's the homosexuals. I bet it is Alfred. It's those fucking piss gremlins.
Oh my god.
should probably qualify that by saying Jeremy Irons has very strange opinions on the gay community.
Yeah,
I was imagining that Batman in this movie is a homophobe for some reason.
We should, for reference, Google Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons gay marriage.
Marry my son.
That's going to come up a lot, so good cluing in.
The half hour that's obviously that we unfortunately didn't get to watch, I bet it's just Lex Luthor's piss heists. I bet top down shot, right? She's in the bathroom, she's sitting there, she gets up, she goes to walk away from the bowl. Who's inside the bowl? It's Lex Luthor. And he's he's either holding a jar or he has his mouth open and he's gargling with laughter.
What, he's like gonna hold it in his mouth and spit it out
Just taking it out.
Like that tennis player that said that the woman that he didn't have sex with a woman, she just gave him a blow and then she held it in her mouth for ages and then put it in her later. Because she was trying to get out of saying, "It's not my son." And it was like clearly him.
Fucking hilarious.
Not Boris. I want to say Boris Becker. That's probably wrong.
Boris Becker's a tennis player.
Anyway.
Yeah. Boris Becker was.
It was like,
I mean, he's great now, but Boris Becker was ginger.
He was so obviously illegitimate,
like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Illegitimate son that looks exactly like him. Apart from he's a bit darker. It's just Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But yeah, when she flushes the toilet, Lex Luthor is laughing and gargling and slowly spins down the pipe.
Also, there's overbearing choir music at that point.
That's what that whole speech about Lex Luthor saying the devils come from above us is that people don't look in their toilet so he can steal their piss.
Devils come from below.
This whole
stealing
film
piss.
is just Lex Luthor's piss fetish.
Also, you know what piss is? It's a water. It's baptism.
Right, okay, so we'll get into this. This movie kept doing things where people got into water, and I don't think David S Goyer knows what a baptism is actually about. He just knows that it's something that religious people do.
What happened is Zack Snyder said, in the first one, we did a lot of things about baptism.
Yeah.
And he's like, we need to do it again, David. And he's like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And then he was too embarrassed to ask Zack Snyder. And it's just our David S.
So as like David S. Goyer is like some sort of evil Tweety bird.
See, the thing is they could have had it because obviously, you're forgiven of your sins when you're baptized, and obviously this movie at one point,
Batman's got a lot of sins and he never gets baptized.
Yeah, exactly. Batman would be the person because he's also holding a grudge against Superman, so maybe with him, but he's the only person who doesn't jump into water or a vat of actual piss.
He's in the rain for a bit and he hits Superman with a sink that holds water.
Well, you know what would have been good? If he'd had to have got the Spear of Destiny, because then he would have gone underwater and he could have emerged clean of his sins.
Yes.
If you're going to go into that.
So we had this thing where no one actually had a character, a kind of just a character sheet that made any sense.
What character arcs? They not all.
Lex Luthor, what motivated him? Don't know. He was just a madman.
I mean, Batman has a character coin in as much as he one side is I hate Superman, I want to kill him, and then the flip is Martha, and then the other side of the coin is Superman's my best friend, I'm going to murder people for him, which is something Superman doesn't approve of, by the way. I love that he's like, you got to save Martha, and his immediate thing is, I'm going to take my gunship, and I'm going to
kills a building full of people, and that's just when he's inside the building.
Yeah.
But when he's on the way to the building, he's murdering people. Alfred's murdering people.
Yep.
This was Alfred, the guy who was saying, "Oh yeah, it's bad when someone becomes cold and cruel, gunning people down."
Dancing through the snow.
Master Wayne, where are the missiles? Oh, don't worry, found them.
One of these days I'm going to marry you, Master Wayne, for those tax breaks.
so that you can inherit my fortune without paying any tax.
It is not incest between man and assumed son.
The Greeks did it, Master Wayne. Why should we not?
Alfred, there's a time and a place.
Alfred, get the oil. Alfred, time for the wrestling.
There was a bunch of really abortive lines. Obviously there's just so many lines being thrown out there in this film. There was the one about, Jesse Eisenberg's dad, or Lex Luthor's dad, beating him.
Yes.
There was the one about...
fisting him or something.
Yeah,
God didn't save him from his father's fisting, so now he doesn't like Superman and wants Superman to kill Batman.
To prove a point
about men and gods.
Yes. But also that he wants the god to lose.
People do keep triumphantly saying to Superman, "You're not a god."
Yeah.
He hasn't gone around going "Yo, it's me, Big G over here."
He really is a victim of other people's kind of publicity.
He's called Superman.
Yeah.
Like, he's still like,
super
I'm still a man. He's not like, I'm literally Jesus.
Yeah, well, he's just like, he's like, I'm just like you, citizens. Like, that's his whole shtick.
As long as you're American.
He's just been slapped around in the press so much that unless you actually sit down in a bar with Superman, you think he's a massive tool.
Flicking peanuts and destroying.
I like to get shit-faced as well.
But yeah,
Flicks a peanut through a dude.
other weird lines is like the one where he's like, they told me what the Wayne fortune was built on: oil, real estate, and something else. That was maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's actually.
It was like he was annoyed.
Pelt skins.
Yeah, it was like he was annoyed at the source of his wealth.
Yeah.
But also, like, up until then, had never voiced a problem with it because it
Yeah.
allows him to do
everything
that he does.
Because I get when he says they were hunters, he kind of said like, and I'm a hunter. And that's why he wandered off into that field to stare at some trees.
Other weird ones is obviously Jeremy Irons saying that they're going to inherit an empty wine cellar, which really recontextualizes all of Bruce Wayne's drinking throughout this film.
Yes.
Is that, yeah? Oh, yeah, because he's drinking it. Or is it like, you don't throw any parties anymore, Master Wayne?
No, he said they're going to an empty wine. Oh, I see. What? Because he doesn't keep alcohol on site. Yeah, maybe. But he clearly does, because everyone's drinking constantly.
It's just whiskey, though.
There's no, you were saying this, like, there's no reflection on how much of a psychopath Bruce has become. No. There's a scene where he wakes up, and it's obviously now the early hours of the morning, just nails the wine that's next to his desk.
And that should be like a problem.
Yeah.
There should be cinematic language that shows us that that's not good.
If you wake up and drink, and also hate someone so much that you want to kill them but can't really explain why.
Because there's a 1% chance he might kill him.
If you were,
there's even a 1% chance.
If you were Alfred, Alfred, you would have had him committed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, Alfred's a bad father figure.
Alfred's mental too.
Alfred is also drinking at several points.
Drinking on the job, drinking at the command centre.
Alfred's mainly in that little cave. Like, Alfred doesn't see sunlight. He's
drinking while operating heavy machine guns.
He's gone wrong down that.
Oh no!
Cave.
I think I hit some civilians again.
Also, they completely like seriously say the line, "How many good men are there? How many stayed that way?" It's like, you two aren't good men.
There's 1% chance those civilians could have committed crime. You have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Don't beat yourself up.
I have a knuckle duster brand that's somehow always hot.
I'm normal.
He's always hot.
Nanotech.
Yeah, I mean,
this could have funded a school.
A school that would mean people don't have to commit crimes because they're educated. Oh, shut up, Alfred.
Master Wayne, have you considered reinvesting your profits into healthcare?
If he wants to fix Gotham.
Urban renewal, Master Wayne.
No, I'm going to throw an alien into some gas canisters.
You know, in Britain we have something called universal healthcare. Sounds gay.
We've also got no-go zones. I've seen info wars.
Yeah, he's just Alex Jones. There are gremlins everywhere.
Even my armour can't stop knives that eat Khan.
I bet he was entertaining the idea of urban renewal until Alfred stopped talking, and at no point did he say that he still got to beat people to death. What if I just beat a few people to death?
Does this urban renewal involve me clearing out vast portions of the city with my fists? Well, no, Master Wayne. That would be done by a job creation.
How many buildings full of people can I murder in cold blood?
Affordable housing, Master Wayne, is what we're considering today.
We should create apprenticeships and increase the amount of high-skilled work available in training. Can I punch training? No.
Is it punching training? No, that's not a practical skill.
Can I punch the orphans? You're an orphan. Yeah, but I hate them.
They become
He's still
criminals.
hung up on his parents' death. He's like in his 40s. They could well be dead by now.
This is kind of, I guess they're trying to invoke old man Batman.
Yeah.
He's not like decrepit, but
well, again, like it's like a hypocrisy, isn't it? Because you're seeing a man who's clearly like broken and insane, but because the film's not on board with that, it doesn't make sense. Because I agree, and nearly every interpretation I can think of old man Batman focuses on what like a wasted life it was for him to have done this.
Yeah.
But this one isn't. This one's like, I'm the last good warrior.
So I looked up how old he was in this.
Go on. Is he 44 or something?
Heavily inspired by The Dark Knight Returns, the correct age of Batman may be 42 to 45. In the comic, he was 60 to 65.
Yeah.
In live-action movie, you cannot have a superhero that old.
What? That's a bit low. You know, Little Logan, wasn't he supposed to be in his 60s? But yeah, either which way. That's that. So yeah, okay.
Aragorn was 80.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, he's got Numenorian blood in him, though.
That's
so
That's right, Alec.
Batman don't have no blood of the elves.
Alfred, give me some Numenorian blood. Alfred.
Beat him out.
Alfred, I'm gonna punch a troll.
Is this Numenorian whiskey, Alfred? It's whatever you want it to be, Master Bruce.
I heard they got something called what is it, Lambert spread. I want it, Alfred. I want it.
Alfred, do they do Lambert spread on Just Eats? Alfred.
If there's even a 1% chance that they do land a spread on Just I need to kill the delivery truck.
Just chasing him with the car.
I picked up on one thing as well in this, where it's that they needed to reflect on the failed experiment that was the Batman, because he's like, Alfred, in the 20 years we've been in Gotham, how many people stay good? It's like, mate, if you've been fighting this one-man war against crime, and Gotham is still a shithole, which other characters say it is, then it hasn't worked, and you're doing more harm than good.
No, yeah, in these films, like Gotham, even in Justice League, like Gotham is essentially like some sort of like irreparable slum town on the borders of New York. Because I mean, if Metropolis is meant to be New York and they are across the bay from one another, it's so weird that like just like the latent prosperity from the glistening city isn't helping out.
I always like read like Gotham is New York and like Metropolis is like San Francisco or something.
Well,
not in this. But like,
they're always I think initially they're both supposed to be two different sides of New York, aren't they? Like one is like the unfettered crime of New York, and the other is obviously
the fettered crime of New York.
Yeah, exactly, the fettered Wall Street crime of New York. But yeah, no, there's loads of different interpretations. They've had them on different coasts before. That's not, and yeah, you're right. Metropolis ends up being on the West Coast, but it changes around. I mean, I personally think it makes sense for them both to be part of the Eastern Metropolis area, but maybe a little further apart than across the bay.
Maybe Gotham could be Chi-Town.
Yeah,
that'd be.
I like the Batman Begins Gotham that was literally like made out of shanty.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that based on like Chicago, I want to say, or Detroit?
Maybe, yeah.
It's based on. I know that's based on like a Midwestern town rather than an Eastern Coast one, and that works well. I think.
Yeah.
I think that works really well.
Batman fighting the inevitable decline of
motor industry. Motor City.
If we use Keynesian injections into the economy, then maybe we can bring some life back to this neighborhood.
I've built the injections into these fists.
So much Keynesian economics in this film. It's beautiful. Hayek would disapprove.
Michael Shannon is a proper actor. Did he actually come back to play his own corpse?
I certainly hope that he was butt naked.
I reckon what he did was he did some research and he found out the cost of making a prosthetic Michael Shannon, and he put his wage at $1 above that, so that they would just make the prosthetic Michael Shannon instead.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because I got no idea actually. I imagine it's his digital likeness. It has to be. There's no great way they like paid him to just lie down.
in yellow water as well.
Lime piss.
Being cradled by Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse, he was just on his own. He was learning things from a computer, and he was cradling a naked corpse.
Naked Michael
piss. Did anyone find how weird it was that the scout ship was so down to help him?
Yeah, I did think that's given that they were like, no, look, you can't confuse your weird, gross human blood with our Michael Shannon. That's wrong. It was very much like, hello, do you want to have complete control of the ship?
It's like, do you want to assume command of the ship? And he was just like, yeah.
Even he was surprised. He was like, sure.
That was easy.
That was fucking well easy. Imagine if so this means that in Man of Steel, when they were trapped on Michael Shannon's ship, they actually could have just walked into the control room and been like, hi, I'd like to take control of the ship. The ship would have been like, okay, what shall I do? And they could just be like, ship, kill Michael Shannon.
It seems like the ship would have.
And then the ship would be like, oh, hang on, I'm not supposed to do that, and they go do it anyway. They're like, alright.
They're like, maybe I should ask Michael Shannon. It's like, no.
Don't ask Michael Shannon. Okay, I won't.
You're not allowed to ask Michael Shannon.
He didn't ask one question, which was, is Krypton destroyed? And he's like, yes. And he's like, well, no.
Oh, because it goes like, oh, you can't do this. The Krypton Council said no. And he's like, what happened to the Krypton Council? And the ship's like, they're dead. And he's like, better do it then.
Like he somehow outfought the computer. He's like, whoa, like logic tricks.
The computer's like, you got me.
You got me, dog.
I'm stumped. And for that reason, here's Ghost Russell Crowe.
Yeah, here's the keys to the ship. Yeah, also a bunch of weird setting up, which I didn't. Obviously, I guess because the only time I watched this, Justice League wasn't out yet. But now with the hindsight of having watched Justice League, I don't really get how this film is defensible because they abandon so many of like the continuity plot points.
It was
basically the only ones they keep are Aquaman and Wonder Woman. The Flash stuff all goes.
That was the funniest thing ever.
So
we were both in stitches.
It was so dumb. I didn't remember it being that dumb. I didn't even really remember what he said. I thought he just said, bad things are coming, Bruce. But he was very specific as to what the problem was.
You know the Flash, special effects in these movies? Because I've seen clips from Justice League.
And you saw her in Suicide Squad as well.
Yeah.
Very briefly.
They're too overbearing because, and it makes it silly because in that scene, obviously, he opens up Stephen King's butthole. Yeah. He's electrocuting the whole room. He's this close. He's this close to Bruce Wayne, who's sitting there at a desk with just that's weird.
Who's not even sure what he's supposed to be making eye contact with.
There's so much unstable electricity coming out of this time portal, and the Flash is just being like, "Fair Superman!"
Even Batman would be cowering and feeling "Oh, what's happening?"
Shit, how did you get in the Batcave? But it's like he's just about to sip his coffee or something.
Batman, something weird. Alfred, something weird just happened.
Don't you love? He never made reference to it.
No, he never mentioned it.
He never mentioned it to Alfred. He never
Wonder
mentioned
Woman.
it to Superman.
Yeah.
He could have been
He never even mentions it to the Flash. He's like, Flash, by the way, you came to me in a dream. You said Superman's going to do some weird shit.
when he decides to team up with Superman by virtue of them both having mothers. They should have had at least something. He's like, listen, we can team up for now, but I know what you're capable of.
I know what you come.
Yeah, I've seen the future because he literally has.
Yeah. Twice.
Yeah, you saw, fascist Superman. Superman doesn't need those soldiers with Superman logos on their shoulders because he's Superman.
Yep. Again, that is just needlessly evocative imagery.
Yeah.
I guess he might want a day off every so often.
No, he doesn't. Superman doesn't want a day off.
5 minutes to go and brood.
I guess if he's brooding more, if he's got to fit in brooding time.
He does like a brood.
He's got to fly to the sun and stare at it and be like,
all the dead the dead planet of Krypton. Sometimes in Superman Returns, that's when you first see him. He's just looking at the planet and he's like, it's dead.
I like that. That's actually the lines I liked in this film. I liked the one where he said this symbol used to mean something on Krypton, but it's gone. That's nice. Well, it's a bit strange that he adopts the. Because obviously they updated it, because originally the big S stood for Superman. Lest we forget. But in the 80s they updated it so it stood for Hope in Kryptonian. Yes. And so I did like that. I also liked, this is the only good moment for Jesse Eisenberg's performance, I think, was there's a bit where the ship asks him if he wants control, and he says, yes, I do, quietly, and then he repeats it loudly like he's unsure. That was the one bit of nuance in his performance.
He was about to assume a kind of godlike status, and he had to think about that.
He had a moment.
Jesse
Eisenberg. That was
fine. I'm not letting Jesse Eisenberg off the hook for this.
He's fucking shit.
Because unless Zack Snyder refused to let him do a take without just being really spazzy.
You gotta be crazy.
Yeah. It's I really don't want to do that, Zack. He's just right, I want you to be dancing around, holding your hands up and shit. I want you to be enunciating weird parts of sentences, speaking in a really high voice when it's inappropriate.
Never respond. If a piece of dialogue, if you're asked a question, you never respond to it.
Yeah, talk even when you're in conversations as though they're not there.
Yeah. Just expository dialogue, line after line after line.
Yes. Gods, that's a thing. Water, get in the water.
Tribalism.
He's a sweetie.
My daddy.
He's a sweetie.
Yeah, I mean,
I
do feel sorry for... Yeah, oh god, that sweetie bit.
I'm diabetic.
You should have tried that with Batman. Be quiet. Now, Batman. Now, do you like that Batman? It is quite nice, actually, yeah.
I've never had anything with colour in it. Tastes like happy.
I wasn't allowed sweets when I was a child.
You've shown me kindness. I'll kill Superman for you.
Oh, yeah.
They're both billionaire orphans. That never comes up. They never bond over that.
Superman billionaire?
No, as in Bruce Wayne.
Oh, right. Sorry.
No, Superman's not.
I'm pretty sure. I know they get pretty good farming subsidies in America. I don't think they're that good.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I wish. They both even directly reference their orphans, and again, just no interest in exploring characters, only themes.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were saying it's sad because obviously this is something that Ben Affleck cares about and would have always wanted to do. And he cared so much about being in this movie, and he really wanted to make this cerebral Batman movie, and he could take up the mantle of the... Because I like the Nolan movies, and I like Christian Bale in them, but I don't really get the impression that Christian Bale cares about Batman.
Not really.
But then this guy has worked his whole life loving comic books and, you know, getting into the movie industry, and then he's the custodian of the dud Batman movies.
Yeah, and the problem is it only gets worse from here, because then he has Justice League, which again he wanted to be great, and like for both of these things he like begged Chris Terrio to get in, who, you know, despite having these two names, isn't a fucking Oscar-winning screenwriter.
Yeah.
And like seems to know what he's doing. But the problem is he had to contend with the fucking piss weasel that is David S Goyer.
Can you imagine that office share? Those two sitting across from a desk. He's like, David, that's not a bad idea, but maybe we could go in a different direction.
I bet the studio sided with Goyer every time, because they're like, but David S Goyer was on Batman. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. He's a very, very esteemed writer.
He wrote Blade.
Yeah, exactly. He wrote Blade.
Have you heard those? I'll throw them up. But have you heard those? David S Goyer quotes where he says that he's not a screenwriter who really understands plots. He just does scenes.
Yes.
And then like, because obviously, as we all know, I love Blade more than anything. I went back and watched that movie, and obviously that was written by Goyer, and it makes so much sense because Blade will do things in scene to scene that just don't make any sense if he was a person with a coherent, you know, like thought. And I'm not just talking about simple plot holes. At the beginning, he obviously has that fight with the guy where he sets him on fire, and then he leaves. But then, when that guy comes back to life in the hospital and starts, like, sucking the blood of a doctor, Blade shows up at the hospital, punches him, and says, "I came back to finish you off." And it's like, why didn't you just kill him completely before?
That's hilarious.
He had time, he had stakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Blade just loves a one-liner.
Yeah, came back to finish you off.
He realised...
A man's died, Blade.
Because now there's a doctor who's going to be a vampire. Good job.
We get to finish him off later. It's a cycle of one-liners.
He realised at that moment, he's like, shit, I have left the oven on. He's like dashing back.
He just
Oh
forgot.
God, there's a vampire!
He forgot fire doesn't kill vampires. He's like, oh, bollocks, shit. And he got home, he's like, fuck.
He just walked out the door, he was too embarrassed to walk back in. I just got to go.
Yes.
Gotta go.
Yes. Because he said, it's like, I'm getting pretty tired of cutting you to pieces. I thought I'd try fire instead. He sets him on fire, but then clearly he knew that it didn't work, and clearly he's confident he can finish him off. So, sorry, this is the kind of person we're dealing with. That's David S Goyer.
He's an idiot, and I can only imagine how frustrated he is. I also bet, I have no proof of this, I bet whenever David S Goyer talks about him in Chris Terrio's writing room, I bet that he talks about it really fondly.
Yeah.
He's like, we had a great time.
we clicked, you know, we had chemistry. Chris is just like, if you ever fucking put me with that man again, I will kill him.
Yeah, he's like, I will never work with that man.
If you send us to Comic-Con together, I'll strangle him. I'll strangle him in front of the fans, and they'll cheer me on.
Chris.
Poor Ben. He's like a reverse Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, well, hopefully he'll get his, maybe he'll get his fucking comic book triumph. I don't know what it could be, but maybe he could be Batmite, the hyper-aware, fourth wall breaking Batman. That's a thing.
Could be just a bit late for him now, man. Like,
I thought I would have said that about when I was in 2011 watching Ryan Reynolds bomb as Green Lantern again in the cinema. Been fucked over so many times. I would have assumed that it was too late for him, but he's got two now.
Is there a bat dog he could voice?
There is a bat. There's the Bat Hound.
He can voice the Bat Hound.
There you go. The Bat Hound doesn't talk. Unlike Crypto the Super Dog, the Bat Hound doesn't talk.
Oh. Also, I thought about how he can do a convincing bark.
My parents are dead. The dog's an orphan as well. It's a rescue dog.
The dog died jumping in the way of the first bullet that tried to kill Thomas Wayne. He's like, no! Fido, no!
Mr. Ruffles. Oh, Mr. Ruffles.
Say Fido.
It's just
Fido too.
Yeah, exactly. This man also has a dog called Ruffles. Why did you say Ruffles?
Superman does have a dog. He's called Crypto.
Crypto the Super Dog.
Yeah, he speaks.
Can he talk?
He does talk.
Yeah, is he hyper intelligent? Or is he just annoying?
He's hyper intelligent.
Being hyper intelligent and a dog would be something of a double-edged sword, because you don't have opposable thumbs. You can't interact with the environment, so you're just a tiny thing that no one respects that can't defend itself really.
So glad I'm trapped. I must die.
Just tapping out "kill me" on the little machine they've got because dogs can't speak. Their vocal cords aren't that
Because I bet
developed.
that Crypto is a cute little dog as well.
I think
No,
he's
he's a big dog. He's a big
Scooby-Doo
white
type.
Big white dog. Big, yeah, like sort of like hunting dog.
A
Great
dog.
white dog.
Yeah.
Racism. Honestly.
He's a big white dog with a red collar and a red cape. He's got a red cape at the
He's got a
moment.
cape that he can't tie on himself.
Yeah.
So he's completely at the mercy of his costumer or his fucking assistant.
Weirdly enough, Crypto, so there's like the Death of Superman, the Alan Moore comics.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, I think Alan Moore must have done this deliberately. Like, Crypto is like present at the Death of Superman. He really detracts from the moment, in my opinion, because he's just
a
fucking
dog in a cape.
talking cape dog.
Yes.
He's like Crypto, old friend. This is it. He's like, goodbye, Superman.
Tell me, do you bleed? Do gods bleed?
The dogs
I'm a
bleed.
dog!
The dogs are God's best friend.
Jesse Eisenberg's like, if you reverse God, you get a dog.
We'd literally came full circle.
Superman, give me the kryptonite spear. I'm a dog!
If he had like had the Crypto
It's
spear in
in
his
his
hand,
jaws.
he's like, man's best friend.
Yeah. He runs in. He kind of jumps over some wreckage.
Yeah.
Flies.
He's got his own theme.
The Crypto Dog theme. Well, that would mean that he had more theme songs than fucking Superman and Batman in this movie.
True, that was ridiculous. Yeah, no, the music in this, until the Wonder Woman music comes in, like the music in this film is ridiculously muted.
Yeah.
More so than Man of Steel. Like, at least Man of Steel has a couple of moments of silence.
I like the soundtrack of
Yeah,
Man of Steel.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with this one at all. I guess just Hans Zimmer not trying.
What do you think?
What do you mean I can't just put horns on it?
Wow. Yeah, no, that guy. Yeah, the horn guy called in sick, and Hans was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
He's like, well, I'm gonna have to.
You're the only guy in my orchestra.
I guess I'm gonna have to compose.
Oh god.
Hans Zimmer conducting the orchestra just points at the horn guy.
Putting points at the horn guy's chair. He's like, oh fuck.
Oh, he's like admonishing the chair.
He's like,
You fucking piece of shit. You're my bread and butter. You are my horn slave.
he's just got like Junkie XL there being like, use computers right, make a computer thing.
Oh. Wonder Woman in this movie, like I have faith that I'm probably going to quite like her movie, but it was only because I knew that later on she was going to just become Wonder Woman and show up in Wonder Woman gear. That I could tolerate her presence at all.
Yeah.
Because she was just, they just kept cutting back to this person who didn't really have a massive bearing on the plot. Like, she had a bearing in that way that Goyer realises he needs for someone to have a bearing, so he just gives them a gizmo.
He gives them a MacGuffin, yeah. He's like his, and also like she actively impeded the MacGuffin, so she because he already had the memory stick, he knew where to get it. She took it from him and then gave it back to him. So it's like he invented reasons for her to be in the plot.
Just like when he realises he needs to get rid of the kryptonite spear, so he has Lois Lane throw it in a puddle and then come back for it later when she realises that she shouldn't have thrown it in a puddle.
Even if she'd just spoken as to why she'd thrown it in the puddle.
Yeah.
Like, if she just really emoted about like how upset she was that it could have killed Clark.
Yeah.
Like, that would have at least made it seem a bit more rational. But it's just silently thrown in the puddle, silently retrieved from the puddle.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think there's any reason that she should know to get it from the puddle, because Superman doesn't tell her that it's important, does she? I think as far as that scene plays out, she throws it in the puddle. He says it's important, and then she jumps back in to get it.
You know why I thought that was confusing, actually, is because the way it was communicated to me, I feel like it was going to be Bruce who went to go and get it.
Yeah,
because he says it.
He's talking to Alfred about it, and then like he doesn't. He's like, oh, I got to carry on laying down.
Yeah, she gets it, doesn't
fire.
she? He doesn't tell her.
No, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, she just so shit. So her thought process is, I will throw the spear in the puddle. Shit, I need the spear.
Yep.
That's insane.
Oh look, now I'm trapped under convenient falling debris.
Yeah, because that's the first time that Superman doesn't know she's there until back down there
Until he hears her.
Yeah, you're right, because it's not even fucking Superman who has the idea about the spear. It's Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, they said like Goyer, like there's nothing behind like the image.
Yeah.
There's no moving pieces. It's literally just him shuffling shit around.
Well, that's why I wonder if like the Chris Terrio stuff is all the God stuff, but without the second half of the film that he was going to write, which is probably Goyified. Then I guess it all just becomes meaningless bullshit.
Yeah.
No, I just googled how does Lois know the spear will kill Doomsday, and everyone's just gone.
Okay.
Wizards.
Well, she knew it could kill Superman, and Doomsday's also big. My favourite one is like, well, she could see that Doomsday feeds on energy just like Superman. It's like, Superman doesn't feed on energy. He doesn't like go into a fire and get bony.
Yeah, I don't think Lois conceptualizes Clark as feeding off energy. I think only as much as humans eat and like absorb sunlight.
With Goyer, the thing is I know that Goyer does all the Comic-Con stuff constantly, and they do panels, and I don't know why someone just doesn't go to these panels, because everyone hates him. People hate the movies he makes, and they hate him even more because they paid to see them. Like this movie made like an insane amount of money, even though everyone was like, oh, it was like cancer on screen, mate. So someone should just stand up and be like, Goyer, why does these things happen in your movies? And just show him, for entertainment's sake, as not being a writer who understands anything at all, even his own work.
The thing is, I don't think he respects himself enough to have that annoy him. He openly admits that he doesn't get screenwriting.
Yep.
He's a comic book writer who who was literally the consultant on The Dark Knight because Christopher Nolan doesn't know comics and John Nolan doesn't know comics.
Yeah.
And from there he's accidentally fell upwards several times, like another baldy bastard we know, who just somehow managed to get into increasingly more prestigious script roles.
I'm feeling attacked.
No, it's not you.
Oh no, it's not you. No.
I would just name you.
You piece of shit.
You cunt. Okay, come on.
Don't worry, I'm not
Anyway.
I'm not passive aggressive. I'm just aggressive.
Yeah. I can give you that.
Thank you. But yeah, so I honestly don't think it would do much. Unlike Benioff and Wise, who I believe
take themselves very
seriously. I think you could harass them successfully.
I could draw tears.
Yeah. And that's why they didn't go to Comic-Con. That's because they knew they'd get harassed.
They
and
knew
their
what
egos
would
couldn't take it.
People would ask basic questions.
Yeah. So this is where this and Suicide Squad. Obviously, it was a twofer in the same year, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is what fucking derailed the DCEU irrevocably. Wonder Woman was the only reason they didn't abandon it immediately after this, I think.
They seem annoyed. Not annoyed, because I know that they're glad that Aquaman was a success, but you said...
They were annoyed because it meant that they had to hold on to another part of this fucking disintegrating piece.
Because they were going to take it all out. They were going to take it out back like Old Yeller and just shoot it, and I'm sure they were going to be really relieved to do so, because it's such a fucking long-winded train wreck, and then... Lo and behold, fucking the Saw guy makes a bitching fucking Aquaman movie, and they're like, okay, good.
Yeah. And then the Annabelle guy makes a fucking great Shazam film, and they're like, what the fuck's going on here?
Why are you doing this?
Yeah, so now they've got half a DCEU, half the plane is disintegrated, but it's still flying.
I kind of feel like they're sort of going more they're not so interconnected anymore. They're not trying to do a Marvel everything leads into the next one. It's more we're doing Suicide Squad again, and some of the characters are the same, but some of them aren't. And then there'll be another film where it's some of the characters, but also some new ones.
No, I get that. And I mean, but the thing is, it is fundamentally, unless they're going to come out and say that none of this is it's still the same universe. Like I said, when watching Shazam and when fucking Superman appears in Shazam, Shazam spoilers, that is still the same Superman who presumably leveled all those buildings.
It's the Man of Steel Superman.
It is that Superman.
Right. That is, it is a fucking mess. You were talking about this in the Man of Steel one, but it's the idea that these things are happening alongside each other becomes more and more laughable the more you consider, say, Captain Boomerang.
But they can't abandon that. They can't abandon that now because now that's the pretense. Also, Captain Boomerang's fucking coming back. Yes.
People love Captain Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang montage right here.
We love Captain Boomerang. We've always loved Captain Boomerang.
The people demand that he comes back, much like his titular weapon.
He's coming back. Will Smith's not coming back, and I'm happy about that. Yeah. That's exactly how I want it.
I wanted him back. I wanted no one else back, but I guess if it's got to be someone else, it's Harley Quinn. So
David Harbour's in Suicide Squad for about 4 seconds. He can come back.
Yes, nice. He plays the presidential aide.
That's a weird role for him.
He basically just goes, the satellites or something.
He's in that boardroom at the beginning when Amanda Waller walks in and is like, what if Superman was evil?
Oh, yeah.
Then David Harbour's like,
that's an interesting question. We haven't considered at the highest levels of government. Thank you, Amanda Waller.
We didn't make a committee for this in the Senate.
Indeed. Yes. Well, that one just petered out. It kind of resolved itself. It's like Shin Godzilla again. It's just like,
it just blew up.
This is an issue.
Bureaucratic incompetency.
Luckily he died.
Yeah.
Oof. That could have been a big problem.
That saves some taxpayer money.
Yeah, now we've just got vigilante sociopath who can be killed with bullets.
Well, do you remember the end of the Suicide Squad film?
What is this? Some kind of
where the Joker comes and gets Harley Quinn out of the jail?
No, the Batman one. Where Batman talks to Amanda Waller.
Oh,
Bruce Wayne talks to Amanda Waller.
That's so lame.
Yeah, I guess again, like just billionaires purchasing government secrets. A lot of that going around.
That's not suspicious.
But again, that was him purchasing information on the Joker, which I guess he never got around to using.
Yes. Just lands on his car.
Surely by that point, Bruce Wayne knows all there is to know about the Joker.
Yeah, also that Joker doesn't seem old enough to have been dealing with this Bruce Wayne.
He started really young.
Yeah, I guess he did, like 16.
That's why he's so calm about it. Like Joker killed him when he was like killed one of his Robins when like Joker was like 12. Really humiliating.
Just accidentally shot like a toy gun, like an actual toy gun, like blinded him.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
This movie was ridiculous.
Yep.
It was completely ridiculous.
I think this. Would you agree with me that this is the lowest point, or would you say Suicide Squad is?
Suicide Squad's too funny though.
I think Suicide Squad's more entertaining.
Yeah.
I'd say Justice League is worse than this one.
Oh, I like Justice League more. I think Justice League is actually entertaining, unlike this film.
I think I got more. I think this is long, but I got more actively bored.
Because I think about Justice League a lot more fondly because there's at least like
There's a
6
couple of-
people, and there's some jokes in it because Joss Whedon had to like
Yeah.
change half of it.
There's a couple of funnier bits, but I felt like it's more of a mess.
No, that's fair. It is definitely more of a mess, but again, much like Suicide Squad, I think that's what I like.
Yeah.
I cannot believe, by the way, that that's like $1 million like consultancy job, which is basically Joss Whedon comes in, he says, "You need more jokes."
Yep.
They put more jokes in. They're like, "Thank you. Here's your giant bag of cash."
Well, it really goes to show what prestige can do. It's like, get me the funniest director joke man. Like, you
Yeah.
could have got anyone in to write those
They
jokes.
got Joss Whedon. Someone fucked up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
good at. I'm not saying they're good at those.
You could have got Lord and Miller,
Yeah.
which other people actually did, and everyone benefited. Yeah. Joss Whedon.
Yeah. So you got your Wonder Woman, and by the time you've watched Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Justice League, we might have other things out. I mean, what is it, Joker?
Yeah,
But
I'm
not
really
part of the
looking forward to
DCEU.
Joker, yeah.
No, thanks.
You're not going to watch it?
No, I
thanks.
can't.
Too edgy?
It's too like, oh, society.
Yeah.
It is very much.
I will completely accept
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
No, definitely.
We
We live in a society.
We live in a society. Sure, like I might be proven wrong and the reviews are really good, but it just looks like, oh, it's not his fault that he's bad.
He got
It's
beat
society.
up on a subway.
He
He
got
tried to
bullied.
laugh through it.
He got bullied, and now he's a mass murderer. And you need to feel sorry for
He
him. I was
loved
like,
his
no.
mum.
I'm sure that. Oh fuck, who is it?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
We'll put in a at least serviceable
Yeah,
performance
he'll
because
put-
that's his entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of like. I want.
No.
I know that this can go on forever, but I want there to be a good Joker again because there's always been good Jokers, and then the Jared Leto thing, like obviously.
Really tarnish the brand.
Yeah, it was kind of like we had a thing going where they would work really hard on picking someone for the Joker, and that person would work really hard on their performance, and that's basically always been true. I mean, I know there's like Cesar Romero, who you can see his mustache through the white makeup,
refused
but-
to shave his moustache off. Was my favourite thing about that joke.
which is kind of crazy. I rate it, but yeah, I want Joaquin Phoenix to bring some.
The thing is,
some
I believe
gravitas.
that Jared Leto tried really hard to be the Joker. I just don't think he did it very well.
How did
Yeah.
Jared Leto go from like
But
Dallas Buyers Club,
Yeah.
where he's like a pretty good actor,
Yep.
to emailing his co-workers, not emailing, like posting his co-workers used condoms to try and
Yeah.
look edgy
Chocolate covered
for a
dildos.
children's film?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. I think he's talented, but I think he's probably one of those people that there's nothing going on. He's just a famous guy who's been in some good movies and has an emotive face. He's definitely also a moron, and a tasteless one at that.
I would agree. I think he was given like
My analysis.
he was given
Like
like
that, Jared Leto.
Shots fucking
Found his
fired.
place.
Yeah.
our new beef, us versus Jared Leto.
Leto.
But yeah, I think he was given like they were like be creative with it, and then he tried to be, and he
Yeah.
was like, "What's creative? I know, being a fucking creep is creative."
What's method acting?
Grills.
I know, being a prick.
Yeah, exactly. No, I honestly think that's what he defaulted to. He was like, "What get?" Because from his mind, he's like, "People react to the Joker. What will make people react to me?"
Yes.
And he's like, "Use condoms."
Doing just really unpleasant things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to be lying in the middle of a circle of knives.
Daniel Day-Lewis is a good actor, and people say he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Maybe if I'm an asshole, people would say I'm a good actor.
He's like, "You've done it again, Jared."
Well done, Jared.
You
Okay.
just call him Jared. He sounds really lame. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Jared Leto, it's like, oh yeah, he's kind of, oh, who's this guy? But Jared's like, Jared.
Makes
You
me
let
think
him
of-
from school, Jared.
That makes me think of the paedophile, the subway paedophile guy.
What?
The
Jared. I want to say Folger. That's not right, is it?
The guy who used to advertise Subway, who had like the really large jeans.
It was an American. I feel like it's an American advert series where he's
Oh,
like,
okay.
I only ate
That
Subway.
sounds quite
He's
funny.
It was like the Subway
ate-
diet. It was a
Yeah.
big thing back in like the
okay.
early 2000s, I want to say.
Was he a paedophile?
He turned out to be a paedophile.
Massive paedophile. Well, he was a
They
massive
convert
paedophile.
so many children in these jeans.
Well, he was a massive paedophile. Then he lost the weight, and now he's a normal paedophile.
Yeah, and he's a normal size paedophile. But even
Normal
paedophile is
size.
still a crime. So we do not discriminate.
I only just caught up on what you did there.
A common or
Bravo, sir.
a common or garden paedophile. That's-
Garden variety. Which is annoying because obviously massive paedophiles are easier to catch and spot.
yeah, they can't go through the door, so
They stand out in the playground easily. They can't fit in shrubs
Oh,
as easy.
Oh, yes, he's over there.
That's a fat man.
They can't dart behind. They can't dart behind trees as easily.
He's this Pokemon. But he's more believably going to have the best candy because
Yeah,
he's fat
so
as
this
fuck.
is why Subway.
I'm leaving all of this.
This is why Subway aided and abetted paedophiles. Quote me. Billboard.
I used to be like, you know those pictures of like angry people in like local newspapers? It's like you, crossed arms with like a compo face on, in front of like a billboard that says Subway helps pedo.
Aided and abetted.
And the thing's gonna be like, local man angry that his billboard will be taken down by council. As you go like, I don't understand why they don't like my giant billboard saying that Subway helps
Aaron
paedophiles.
Chapman, an experiment of what happens when you get an angry Marxist into a PR position. Subway our campaign. We aided a paedophile.
Wait, what does our company do again? We make billboards.
I used
But
to.
for who? Shut your mouth.
I used to manage a fucking brand's social media feed, and it's a miracle they're still in business. It took unprecedented self-restraint.
I would just like send out tweets that seemed fine, but then if you like added up all of the first letters of them, they were just like, you know, the name of your boss
Fuck
is
you.
a mega pedo.
That's what Arnold Schwarzenegger did in a letter to the Senate or something, wasn't it?
Really?
He wrote-
When he was governor?
He wrote like "fuck off,"
Oh wow.
like a letter to like his
That's quite
own
easy.
government.
That's quite an easy one to pull off.
He's
I
not-
like it.
The thing is, when it's in separate tweets, you can get away with it. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, obviously, very dedicated man, but that's clearly not the smartest tool in the shed.
Because it's also like it's the first letter of every line.
Yeah,
so read it down.
so-
He's going, I've got the one. This one. Oh, don't ever see this coming,
Guys, I've had a great idea.
Well, this is why I've always found like these secret messages like, I guess a bit of a double-edged sword, because like, if you make it too easy to spot, then it's not secret. But if you make it too hard to spot, no one gets your fuck you message.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, I could do an amazing one where it's like, oh, if you add the if you add the numbers of like the first and last letter, and like fucking put them onto a mobile Nokia 3310, then it says something.
It reads Costa Coffee at AIDS War Criminals.
Exactly. It'll be it'll be
God.
like jet fuel.
Your staff are passive aggressive. Jet fuel doesn't burn at that temperature.
Yeah, exactly. But like, no one will ever find that out.
The towers never would have fallen that way. Jared Leto.
Jared from Subway. We can only hope that we're slow enough in watching the DC films that they actually make some in the meanwhile. Because I think of the batch of 6 that we initially set out to do quite a long time ago, they've only made Shazam since then.
Yeah.
So I think they need to really pick up the pace.
They're going to make that other Wonder Woman movie, aren't they?
They're making Wonder Woman in the 80s for some reason,
Great.
which has Chris Pine in it as young, as you'll see in young World War I officer Chris Pine, and then they're being really coy about how or why.
Time travel.
I guess it must be, mustn't it?
Done. It's a comic book film. It's time travel.
Yeah.
So how the Avengers get time travel?
Time travel.
How is it time travel?
Nice.
Anyone who was involved with this most heinous enterprise should have been shot.
Yeah, and instead.
Except for Henry Cavill, known Scotsman. Because they're immune to gunfire.
Oh yeah,
you know?
bagpipes in this film. Bam.
Henry Cavill is Scottish.
Canadian Scottish bagpipe Russian films. Oh, he's back, but we're not going to hear from him. Oh, God.